Hey everybody, Mortis here. Today we're going to be going over some basic Rust Electrical. Now we are doing a multi-part video series where we're going to cover everything from setting up your own power station all the way to more complex circuitry. In today's video we're going to be specifically talking about the solar panel, the wind turbine, how to connect them all to a root combiner, and setting them up to a branch. Now, if you are familiar with these components, feel free to move on to my next video. This is intended for the novice Rust electrician, somebody who has either just picked up the game or just picked up this wiring tool, the one, thing in my hand right here. But however, if you are looking for how to set up your own power grid, we're going to show you how to do it today. Now, two things to note is that because we are setting up our own power grid station here, we are not going to be using a test generator. Not to mention, these are things that are mainly on modded servers. We're trying to stick with mostly vanilla components. And the other thing to note as well is that this is more power than you are going to need. This is going to give out roughly around 260 to 270 power. So unless you're looking to try and make a trap base with a lot of turrets, there's really not a lot of need for this much power. But let's get into how to set this all up. Alright, so for this setup here, we have a setup of 16 panels total. So we have 2 rows of 8 in each row. And then what we're going to do is we set a root combiner. In between the first row, we set 3. So 1 here, 1 in between those 2, and then 1 in between the middle here. Now ignore the one that's kind of off to the side here, that's kind of slanted the other way. We're going to come back to that. But I want you to focus on 1, skip, 1, skip, 1, skip, 1. And then on these ones, you're going to put a row of 3 for the root combiners. Now, let's get them all wired up. Now, it's very easy to be able to get these all together. What we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to say root power 1, electric output, root power 2. Actually, no, I'll show you guys something pretty cool for cleanliness as well. If you are holding your wiring tool and you press R on your keyboard, you get this little color wheel here where you can set up the colors of your wires. So we're going to go ahead and set it to red. So we're going to go root power 1 to electric output, root power 2. We're going to bring that to the electric output. And we're going to keep flowing like that just to kind of give you an idea here. This is what the grid's going to look like. Red is going to connect from the root combiners into the solar panels. Black is going to connect into the root combiners themselves, giving them power. And our green is going to be our power out. Now, I'm sure this looks kind of vaguely understandable right now, but it'll make a lot more sense once we get further in. So let's keep going on here. We'll go ahead and again, we'll keep connecting our root combiners into our solar panels like so. And we're going to do this for both rows. We're going to do the ones that are in between each panel and connect them to each side of the panels. Now I'll go ahead and I'm going to get these 2 rows set up and then we'll come on back. Alright, so now we have our 2 rows all hooked up to our root combiners here. So we got 2 panels for every 1 root combiner that's in the front on both rows. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take the combined power out, and that one that I had you place in the middle there, we're going to put that into root power 2. Root power 1 is then going to go to the one above it. And to make sure that we are following our preset grid pattern here, I'll go ahead and change that to the black, so that way it's on the default. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Alright, so now we're going to do the same thing, again, ignoring the middle one. Now, you can place these middle ones as you go along, because it is easier as you're facing this way. These will be kind of facing a different direction. Just easier so you know which ones are what. Now, again, we're going to go combine power 1, root power 2, root power 2, combine power out, and just kind of keep following the same pattern. And we got this last one down here. Alright, so with this last one here, now we have our grids of each section of 4 is now hooked into a single root combiner. Now, because again, my sunlight isn't giving me the exact amount that I should be getting, so it's giving me 39. This is due to, I have ENV activated, so I can set the time on my server. I just like this shadow effect, so it's giving a little less power out right now. However, as you can see though, each solar panel is giving out power to give me 39 combined out, and that'll be on each of those. So now we're going to take those panels that we just connected, and then we're going to connect them to these angled ones that we had you place down as you were running along. And we're going to go, each one of the power out on those is going to go to the root power 1 on these ones. And this just allows you, again, just showing you that grid pattern. We've got the red coming in to each of the solar panels, to the root combiners. The root combiners are then all hooked up to with the black cables to ensure that, it's just nice and smooth and clean. But now we're going to go ahead and start hooking up our main power. So how we're going to do that is we're going to take the combined power out on these. We'll start with the back one here. There we go. Alright, and then once again, just to make sure we're following the correct grid pattern here, we'll go ahead and change that to green, and we're just going to run this all the way down, and boom. Alright, then again, we're going to kind of run this here, and then we're going to run it to this one. Alright, so now our entire solar panel field is connected, and we are getting a total of 159 power out. So even just with the 16 solar panels, you are getting quite a lot of power out. However, we're not done yet. We still have to connect the wind turbine. Now, one thing to remember about the turbines is that they do better up high. They do not do so well on ground level. They actually did put some scent of atmospheric wind into the game. So you want to make sure these are up a little higher. You will get a better production value. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and I'll try to make this as clean as possible. This is not normally the way I would set up my platform for these, but I'll try to make this as nice and neat as I can. We'll go ahead and attach that there. And we'll put that bad boy there. And we'll bring this on down. So now we can bring this into this root combiner. So now we got our wind turbine and our root combiner. That's all of our solar panel field over here. So now we're getting a combined power out of 259. So again, because I'm getting a little bit less power on my panels, I'm a little bit lower, but still, even with that, not a bad power out. And then we just go ahead and take that and connect that into our branch, and now we have a sense of usable power. So all this is just connecting a power source, something that can generate or harness power, and connecting those via root combiners. Now, the one thing to note about root combiners is that you cannot use these on anything other than actual power sources. You cannot combine switches, you cannot combine branches or anything like that. You can only combine root combiners with either themselves or a direct power source. Now, this does include generators and batteries as well. However, it can only be an actual power source. So it's one thing to keep in mind whenever you're trying to do anything with these. So that's really how to set up your main grid there. So I really do hope that this was informative and you were able to follow along what's happening here. If you have any input or any feedback, feel free to leave a comment down. I hope to hit that subscribe button, and there'll be more videos coming with more explanations on how to be able to use batteries and more complex circuitry. But as always, happy gaming.